Hello, students, and a very good morning to you. Students, I hope you all are well and giving sufficient time to your studies. So, students, now we are going to start our 12th chapter of class 7 science, that is reproduction in plants, and this is the first part of this chapter. So, students, this chapter is very important as well as very interesting. So, it will be better that first you read the chapter from your book and then watch this video. So, students, let's have a look what we are going to study in this video. First of all, we will see reproduction in plants, in which we will see the definition of reproduction. So, there are two modes of reproduction in plants. So, next topic will be modes of reproduction in plants. There are two modes of reproduction. So, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in plants. So, in this video, we will cover asexual reproduction in plants, in which we will see different methods of asexual reproduction in plants. So, first of all, we will see binary fission, then we will see budding, then fragmentation, spore formation. After that, we will see vegetative propagation, and there are two types, that is natural vegetative propagation and artificial vegetative propagation. After that, we will see tissue culture, and then at last, we will study about advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. And next mode, that is sexual reproduction in plants, we will see that topic in our next part of our next video. So, students, our first topic in this chapter is reproduction in plants. But before starting this topic, I just want to remind you that so many processes we have studied in sixth class, the life processes we have studied, in short, as respiration, digestion, nutrition, excretion, circulation, and reproduction. So, in short, we have studied their definitions. So, we know, students, all that processes are very important, because these processes help any individual, any organism to remain alive. So one of the most important characteristic of all living organism is to produce individuals of their own kind. This is reproduction. So in this chapter we will study about reproduction in plants. In 8th class you will study reproduction in animals. So here we will see what is reproduction, and then we will study about the reproduction process of reproduction in plants in detail. So we know that all living things, they have a definite lifespan, starting from their birth, growing into a young one, and then into an adult, and finally growing old till death. So this process takes place in all living organisms, including animals as well as plants. So in order to continue the species, each organism must make more individuals, more organisms of their own kind. So, the production of new individuals from the parents is known as reproduction. Means we can say that the process of giving rise to new organisms or new individuals from the existing organisms. Existing organisms means the parents. Okay, so process of giving rise to new organisms from the existing organisms of the same species is called reproduction. Same species is very important, because we can say that if a dog is there, so dog will always give birth to puppies, not kitten. If cat is there, so cat will always give birth to kittens, not puppies. That is why this word, that is same species, this is very important. So again we will see the process of giving rise to new organisms, new individuals, or we can say offsprings also, or new generation from the existing organisms. Existing organisms means parents. So two parents and in some case one parent also. At least one parent is needed to produce new organism, new individual, in both cases, in animals as well as in plants. So, the process of giving rise to new organisms from the existing organisms of the same species is called reproduction, or we can say the process of the production of new individuals from the parents is known as reproduction. So, one more thing is there. What is the need of reproduction? Reproduction is very important for each species, for each organism, because it ensures that organisms of a species continue to live even after the death of the parent organism. Means if parent organism will die, then also its generation will go on. So this is the need of reproduction, because it ensures that the organism of a species continue to live after the death of the parent organism also. And next thing, it increases the population of any species. So here we will see reproduction in plants. So we know that in plants, two systems are there that we have studied in sixth class, that is root system and shoot system. And except that, two parts are there, that is vegetative part of plant and reproductive part of plant. So students, all we know that roots, stems and leaves, these are the vegetative parts of a plant, whereas flower is the reproductive part of the plants. And we have studied about these parts, that is vegetative part and reproductive parts, in detail in sixth class we have studied. So here you can see this image. This is the image of a plant. So I think you all are knowing about root, and in shoot we know the stem and branches and leaves are the parts of the shoot system. But some important parts are there, that is you can see axil. Well, you have studied about axil also in sixth class, but I just want to remind you what is axil. So the space between the stem and the leaf, this space is called axil. You can see axil in between the leaf and the stem. So this part is called axil. Next you can see axillary bud. So axillary bud means the bud which originate in between the leaf and the stem, means the bud which originate in the axil, that bud is called axillary bud. After that you are knowing about leaf, leaf stalk, terminal bud and stem and node also. You all are knowing the place from where branches or leaves arises, that part is called node. So all these parts are very important, because when we will study about asexual reproduction in vegetative propagation, when we will study, then these parts are used to produce new plants. So here I think you all are clear, that is the root, stem and leaves, these are the vegetative parts of a plant, and flower, it is the reproductive part of the plant. Now, modes of reproduction in plants. So there are mainly two modes of reproduction in plants, means mostly the two modes of reproduction are present, that is asexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction means the new individual is produced by a single parent, means only one parent is needed, and the production of new plants from the existing plants without the involvement of gametes. So here you should know about gamete. What is gamete? Gamete is the reproductive cell of any organism. That reproductive cell may be male reproductive cell or female reproductive cell. So if reproductive cell are formed in males, then it is called male reproductive cell or male gamete. If it is produced in the females, then it is called female reproductive cell or female gamete. Means asexual reproduction, only one parent is needed. That is why there is no any involvement of gametes. Only one parent is required to produce new individuals. One more thing, seeds are not produced. Means this type of reproduction, it is taking place in plants, but then also seeds are not produced, and there is no any union of gametes, means reproductive cells or sex cells. And the new individual which is produced by asexual reproduction, it will be totally identical to the parent, and this type of reproduction is found in lower plants. Next reproduction is sexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction involves the production of new plants by the fusion of male and female gametes. Means here two parents are required. One parent will be male parent, and next one will be female parent. So these two parents will produce their male gamete and female gamete. So there will be fusion of male and female gamete. So the new organisms forms, they have the characteristics of both the parents. Means half of the characteristics it will get from female parent and half it will get from male parent. And here there is a formation of seeds. Means seeds are formed in sexual reproduction, whereas we have seen that in asexual reproduction only one parent is needed. There is no union of gametes and there is no seed production. But in sexual reproduction, two parents are required. There is a union of male and female gametes, and seeds are formed in sexual reproduction. So this reproduction is common in flowering plants. Now students, we will see asexual reproduction in plants. So as we know, in asexual reproduction, new plants are produced without the formation of seeds. Means seeds are not produced in asexual reproduction, and the plants produced by asexual reproduction are also not produced by seeds. So there is no any concept of seeds in asexual reproduction, because only one parent is required, one parent is needed in asexual reproduction. So there is no any fusion of gametes. Gametes means reproductive cells or sex cells. So there is no any involvement of reproductive gametes, or there is no any fusion of gametes. That is why seeds are not produced in asexual reproduction. And one more thing, the new plants which are produced after asexual reproduction, they are identical, they are exactly identical or exactly same to the parent plant. Now, in plants, asexual reproduction can take place by the following methods. So these methods are binary fission, budding, fragmentation, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. So let's see in detail. Modes of reproduction in plants. So here we can classify these modes of reproduction in plants into two, as we know, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction we will see later on. First we will see asexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, these are the methods. First one is fission, which is generally we see binary fission. Then next one is budding, spore formation, fragmentation and regeneration, and vegetative propagation. Now, vegetative propagation can be divided into two methods, that is natural methods of vegetative propagation and artificial methods of vegetative propagation. Now, natural methods of vegetative propagation involves the formation of new plants by using roots, underground stems, aerial stems, and adventitious buds on leaves. And in artificial methods of vegetative propagation, new plants are produced by using the method of cutting, layering, grafting, and tissue culture. Now, first we will see binary fission. So here binary means two and fission means division or splitting. Okay, so binary fission is the splitting or we can say division of a mature cell. Mature cell means suppose parent cell. Okay, so in binary fission the parent cell divides or splits into two cells of same type, means only one parent cell will be there and it will divide and form two new daughter cells. Okay, so what happened, it this type of method is commonly it is found in bacteria. So in binary fission, first of all, the nucleus of the cell, nucleus of the parent cell, as you can see in the diagram also, nuclear material means the nucleus of the cell, parent cell, first it divides into two nuclei. Nucleus word is the singular number, or and nuclei mean nuclei is the plural number. So first of all, the nucleus of the parent cell divides into two nuclei, and then cytoplasm divides into two parts. So as you can see in the diagram, first nuclear material means nucleus divides, and then cytoplasm divides from the cytoplasmic membrane from the mid of the cell, and after that two parts of the cells, they will contain one single nucleus, means first of all one nucleus is there, it divides into two nuclei, and then after that cytoplasm will divide, means cell will divide into two parts and each part will contain one nucleus, means each part contain one nucleus, and further stretching it leads to the division of cells or and formation of two daughter nuclei, or two daughter cells. Now these cells further they grow and mature into parent cell, and again they will divide just like that, similar by binary fission. So this is the method of asexual reproduction, which is called as binary fission, in which one single parent give rise to two daughter cells. Next one is budding. So budding is another type of asexual reproduction, which is commonly found in yeast. So yeast is a type of fungus. In yeast cell, a small rounded part or a bulb-like projection comes out, which is called as bud. As you can see in the diagram also, one developing part is there, developing outgrowth is there, which is called as developing bud. Now you can see this in this developing bud, one nucleus is there, that nucleus is also dividing into two parts. So what happened, first of all in yeast cell a small rounded bulb like projection comes out, that bulb like projection is called bud, which starts to develop on one side of the body, and very soon it enlarges in size, and then the nucleus of the cell it also divides into two parts. Now one of the nucleus passes into the bud and one remain in the parent cell. Sometimes what happen at this stage, the bud separates itself from the parent cell and grows separately, but sometime what happen, these may remain attached to the body and form a colony of cells, as you can see in the image, as you can see in the diagram. So it may form a chain of buds, and after some time they means they join together and produce so more type of their kind, and after some time they detach from the parent body and they grow into a new individual. So two things are there, first of all one cell is there in which bud develops like a bulb-like outgrowth or bulb-like projection. Now, nucleus divides into two parts. One of the nucleus remain on the parent cell, and one nucleus goes into the new bud. And after that, what happened? Two cases are there. Either the new bud separates or detaches from the parent cell and it grows into a new yeast cell, or sometime what happened, so many new buds start growing and they form a chain of buds, as you can see in the diagram. And when they get their favorable condition means when everything is normal for the yeast, they are getting sufficient amount of light, water and nutrients. At that time they separate and they grow new yeast cells. So this process is called budding. This is a type of asexual reproduction. This is a method of asexual reproduction which is called budding. Now next one is fragmentation. So some algae are there as Spirogyra. Spirogyra is a pond scum. It is a green algae. So this type of reproduction, it is found in a Spirogyra or pond scum, in which Spirogyra actually it has a long ribbon-like cells, as you can see in the diagram. It has ribbon-like filamentous body. Filamentous body means its body is made up of so many fragments. So what happened during fragmentation? The filamentous body of the Spirogyra breaks up into two or more parts, and these parts are called fragments. So breaking of the body into two or more parts is called fragmentation. And now what happened? Each fragment grows into a new individual. Okay, so this process is called fragmentation. And yes, the ability of any living thing to repair themselves or to grow the damaged part is called regeneration. This thing you all know, I think. So fragmentation means one filamentous body is there, which first it breaks up into so many fragments, means two or more parts or fragments, and after that these fragments will grow into new Spirogyra. So this process is called fragmentation. Now spore formation. So spore formation takes place in a large number of fungi as bread mold, means rhizopus, as you can see on the bread. And pin mold is also, it is found on bread and edible items. Its scientific name is mucor. So what happened, yeast and bread molds, they generally reproduce by spore formation or sporulation. So spores are produced on the from the parent body that germinate to give rise young ones when the favorable conditions are there. So these spores, they are microscopic means they are very tiny. They are very tiny. They are spherical cells, and they are covered by some hard protective coat that help them to survive in harsh temperature and lack of food and water, means they survive in the unfavorable conditions. And means generally spores represent a kind of resting state for a cell in unfavorable condition. If spore forms are there, it means there is unfavorable condition for that organism, because when they are present in spore form, they are covered with a hard protective coat which protect them from the unfavorable condition. Unfavorable condition means harsh temperature and lack of food and water. And as soon as the condition turns favorable, then spores break open and release the cells to grow and reproduce. So in favorable condition, that thick coating breaks open, and then spore germinates to produce new plants. So examples are bread mold, that is rhizopus, and pin mold, that is mucus. So bread mold is very common. You can see during the rainy season, when in suppose you have kept some bread in the humid condition where heat is there and humid condition is also there, means some moisture is there. At that condition you can see some black green colored fluffy structure on the bread, and sometimes on the pickles also, or you can see on the some other edible items also. So these are the molds and these are the fungus. Now, students, our next topic is vegetative propagation. It is also a type of asexual reproduction. But all that previous methods that we have studied, that is binary fission or budding or fragmentation or spore formation, these methods of asexual reproduction, they take place in lower plants. Now we will see vegetative propagation in higher plants. Higher plants means plants with distinct root and shoot systems. Means the plants which are well developed. These are the flowering plants. And now we will see the vegetative propagation, that is a type of asexual reproduction in higher plants. So students, I think you all have seen the grasses which are growing on the dry fields or sometimes after the rains. So from where does it come? The dry old stems, they remain on the ground and they give rise to the new plants. Similarly, planting some potato pieces can give rise to new plants. So in all these cases, a new organism is produced from a part of the parent. Means only one parent is also required in this case to produce a new one. So when new plants can be obtained or new plants can be produced from roots, stems, and leaves or buds without the help of any reproductive organ, it is called vegetative propagation. Okay, and in simple terms, uh, it means reproduction through vegetative part of a plant, as we have studied, because two parts are there, that is reproductive part and vegetative part of plant. So root, stem and leaves, these are the vegetative part of a plant. So when new plants develop from these parts of any plant, then this type of reproduction is called vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation. Propagation means to spread. So when new plants are formed by spreading from a parent plant, then it is called vegetative propagation. So vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction takes place from the vegetative part of the plant, in which new plants originate from any one of the vegetative part of a parent plant. Now vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction is of two types, that is natural vegetative propagation and artificial vegetative propagation. Now first we will see natural vegetative propagation. So many plants, they produce modified stems, roots and leaves. They modified from natural vegetative reproduction or natural vegetative propagation. So these natural vegetative propagation takes place in nature and by nature itself. So first of all, we will see vegetative propagation by stem. So the stem, such as bulbs, about these type of modifications you have studied in sixth class. In sixth class we have studied about bulbs and rhizomes, tubers, etc. So when the stems such as bulbs, runners, rhizomes, corms, tubers or offsets, etc., help the plant to multiply under favorable condition, then this is vegetative propagation by stem. So first of all we will see bulb. We all know that bulb is an underground shoot, which is means it is a short stem which is generally found in onion. We have studied about a bulb in onion in sixth class. So a bulb is an underground shoot that have a very short stem and axillary buds. Axillary buds we have studied in the starting of this chapter, bud which originate in between the stem and the leaf, means in the axil of the plant. That bud is called axillary bud. So bulb is an underground shoot. Underground shoot means the shoot which is present under the ground below the soil. So bulb is an underground shoot that has a very short stem and axillary buds, and some of them grow to form shoots. And examples are onions, garlic, daffodils, tulips, etc. Next one is tuber. So tuber is a modification of an underground stem tip, and the buds present in the tuber grow into new plants, and they contain the stored food. And the best example of tuber is potato tuber. You all have seen potato, and after some, when you keep the potato for some time, then after some time you can see it develops dormant bud in the form of eyes, and these pieces, when they are sowed in the soil, then they grow into new plants. So this is vegetative propagation by stem during by tuber. Next one is stolen runners and stolons. So runners and stolons, they are creeping stem which produce roots at nodes. Vertical stems also arise at these forming new plants at intervals. So examples are doob grass, wood sorrel. Wood sorrel means oxalis, and strawberry. As you can see in the image also, it is a creeping stem and roots are produced at the nodes. Nodes means nodes are the places on the stem from where leaves and branches arise. So this is a creeping stem, means horizontal creeping stem, and at the nodes roots also arise, and vertical stem, and they form like this, they form new plants. So examples are doob grass, wood sorrel, and strawberry. Then rhizomes. So rhizomes are underground horizontally growing stems. They have distinct nodes, internodes, and axillary buds, as you can see in the diagram. The branches grow from the buds, which after that it separate to form new plants. Means separate nodes, internodes, and axillary buds are there, and branches grow from the buds and which separate and form new plants. So examples of rhizomes are ginger, turmeric, and banana. Next one is corm. So corm is another type of underground stem that grows in vertical direction. It grows vertically. The axillary buds born in the axil of the scale leaves produce daughter cones which later grow into new plants. So its examples are saffron and taro, etc. Next one is offsets. So an offset is similar to a runner in being more or less thickened prostate branch with a tuft of leaves at the apex. So as we have studied about runners, just like that offsets are also there. And its example is water lettuce or water hyacinth also. Then suckers. So sucker is like a branch, as you can see in the image. It is like a branch, but it grows under the soil for a short distance, and before striking the surface, means it grows under the ground for a short distance before striking the surface, and it produces green aerial shoots when it comes up above the surface of the soil. Roots arise from the portion present under the soil, and its example is mint. Now we will see vegetative propagation by roots. So, in some plants like dahlia and sweet potato, roots become thick, swollen, and tuberous due to storage of food, and buds are also present on them. So, when such roots bearing buds are planted in the soil, means when these roots, along with their buds, they are planted in the soil, they produce new plants. Then by leaves. So leaves of some plants like bryophyllum and begonia, they produce adventitious buds on the margin of the leaves, and when the leaf falls on the moist soil, means when these buds are detached from the soil, detached from the leaf, then they fall in the soil and they develop small plantlets. So on separation from the soil, these plantlets, they grow as independent plants. So the fleshy leaves of bryophyllum provide food and water to developing plants. Now, students, next topic is artificial vegetative propagation. So, some new plants are developed vegetatively by human beings to improve the variety of plant or to improve the quality of the plant. So, such vegetative propagation is called artificial vegetative propagation. Means vegetative propagation carried out by human beings in order to improve the quality or variety of plant. This type of propagation is called artificial methods of vegetative propagation. So in artificial method of vegetative propagation, first of all we will see cutting, that is a stem cutting or root cutting. So first of all we will see stem cutting. So in this method of propagation, the new plants are produced by cutting the part of the stem of a healthy plant having axillary bud. Means we are cutting a part of the stem of a healthy plant which should have axillary buds. Okay, now this stem cutting is then planted in moist soil, and after some days roots develop from the portion embedded under the soil, and new leaves develop from the buds present at the upper end to form new plant. And examples are china rose, that is hibiscus, bougainvillea, etc. Sometimes this method is useful in the case of roots also, in root cuttings also, and they also produce new plants as in lemon and tamarind. Next one is grafting. So grafting is one of the most important and interesting method of artificial vegetative propagation, and this is a very common method of artificial vegetative propagation in the fruits like mango or apple, pear, guava, and in flowering plants as rose also, and new varieties can be developed by this method. So in this method the root portion is taken from one plant, and that root portion is called stalk. It is called stalk because it is in contact of soil and it provide all the nutrients required by the plant. So the portion which is taken from the plant which has root, that part is called stalk, and the stem portion with several buds is taken from another plant, and that part is called scion. Now the scion is taken from a plant which has the desired features that are intended to be introduced in the root portion. So the root portion is called stalk, and the desired portion of stem part we are taking, that portion is called scion. And the ends of the stalk and the scion are obliquely cut, as you can see in the diagram also. They're obliquely cut and firmly tied together. So in this manner a new plant variety is developed. Okay, now examples in which such grafting takes place, they are rose, mango, apple, pear, guava, etc. Next one is layering. So in layering, the roots are induced on the stem while it is still attached to the parent plants. This part of the plant is later detached from the parent plant and grown into a new plant. So there are two type of layering, that is mound layering and air layering. So mound layering, the in this method, the lower branch of the part is bent down to the ground and covered with soil, leaving the upper growing tip, as you can see in the diagram. So what happened? A lower branch, which is not so hard, that branch is bent down to the ground and covered with soil, and only the upper part or upper growing tip of the plant of the branch is left outside. Now, roots then grow from the covered part of the branch, and these rooted part can be cut off and planted. So, such type of method we can apply in mulberry and jasmine, etc. Now, air layering or aerial layering. So, in aerial layering, the stem is girdled, means a ring of the bark is removed and it is covered with moss or wet cotton to provide moisture, and wrapped properly with a wet cotton cloth. And from time to time water is sparkles on or sprinkles on it to keep the cotton and the cloth wet. And when the covered portion of the branch bears root, it is cut and planted in the soil. So this type of aerial layering, it is done in lychee or croton and so many other plants also. Now, tissue culture. So tissue culture is most advanced and very important method of artificial vegetative propagation. So in this, a small piece of tissue is cut off from the tip of the plant. Actually, tip of the plant is generally free from any disease. So tip of the plant is chosen to take a small piece of tissue from any plant, and then this is placed in an artificial nutrient medium which contain hormones under aseptic conditions, means under pure conditions they are kept in a artificial nutrient medium which contain hormone. So they are kept in nutrient medium just to provide them nutrition, and hormones, they help the tissue to divide properly. So after that, this piece of tissue, they grow into an unorganized and undifferentiated mass of tissue, and that undifferentiated mass, unorganized mass of tissue, it is called callus. And then this callus is transferred to another nutrient medium which contain plant hormones, and where it multiplies and differentiates into small plantlets. So these hormones, they induce the roots and shoots and leaves also in the callus, and after some time small plantlets are formed. Now these plantlets are then transferred to moist soil for further growth. So this type of tissue culture, it is very useful because from one plant so many plants can be developed, and examples as orchids or chrysanthemum or asparagus and so many other plants are there in which tissue culture can be applied. Now, advantages of vegetative propagation. So first is the plants produced by vegetative propagation has exactly the same features as the parent plant. So as the features the parent plant will have, same feature the new plants, the daughter plants will also have, because only one plant is involved in the formation of new plants. Next thing, certain desired characters of the parent plants as seedless fruits or resistance to disease can be passed. If parent plant has such type of characteristics, as parent plant produce seedless fruit, or parent plant is resistant to disease, so these characteristics can be passed on through the vegetative propagation in the daughter plants also. Now, it is much quicker and easier method to produce new plants. Means this process does not take too much time, and and this method is more economical and less time consuming. So this method is very beneficial method for producing new plants. Now some disadvantages are also there, or demerits are also there for this method. So first of all, if parent plant has any disease, then it passes on it in the next progeny. Means if parent plant is facing any problem, any disease, then this characteristic is also passes on in the next progeny. Then it has very little chances of dispersal. Means the seeds cannot disperse a lot. Now it may lead to overcrowding and lack of nutrients. And the most important thing, the plant lose their vigor as there is no genetic variation because only one parent is there, so its genes will transfer in the next progeny. There is no any genetic variation means change. So in when we will study about sexual reproduction, then we will see there are two types of genetic materials are there, one from male parent and one from female parent. So when they cross together, there is new type of genetic material will be there in the new plants. But in the plants which are produced by vegetative propagation, there is no any genetic variation. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. So this is all about the first part of this chapter, reproduction in plants, in which we have studied about asexual reproduction and its different methods and how these methods work. Now in next video we will study about sexual reproduction. Till then, thank you students.